Hello and welcome to the Media Club podcast. Last episode, we talked about distracted driving. Today, we'll be discussing our thoughts on artificial intelligence and ChatGPT.
So before we begin with today's topic, we're going to introduce our speakers by mentioning our name, grade, school, and answering the question, imagine you had your own AI sidekick, like in a sci-fi movie. What would you name it? So I'll start us off. My name is Kaylin Kim. I'm a rising senior at Sunny Hills High School. And if I had an AI sidekick, I'd probably name it Nova, because that's like the name I have in mind for my future dog. And it sounds really like futuristic.
Hi, my name is Yuna, and I'm a rising senior in Yorba High School, and I would name my sidekick Barnaby.
Hi, my name is Sabrina Kwan and I go to Whittier Christian High School and I'm a senior and I would name my AI sidekick a Cosmo Comrade.
Okay, so we'll just start off by asking, what do you guys think about when you hear the term AI? For me, I feel like it sounds super tech and like just a field that I'm not too interested or like knowledgeable in, just because I'm not really like a tech person. But yeah, it's crazy to think about how like impactful AI is and all the potential that it has.
Yeah, I think of it kind of very similarly. I think like futuristics and like sciencey things. How do you guys feel about AI? Are you guys scared of it, and why or why not?
For me, I feel like kind of scared sometimes just because of like all the things that are going on, like how they could replace some like human work. And also, I've also read about like AI nannies, and that's really scary because how like powerful that is and the impact it could have on like a child's well-being. And I've also heard, well, I haven't heard, but like I'm just worried about like malfunctions and how they might overrule us or something.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared of AI because I feel like they're very unpredictable and they're kind of stronger than us because they can't feel pain. And so that's a really big disadvantage that we have.
I think once it starts like developing more, it's probably gonna do better than us at all of our jobs. So it's probably like gonna unemploy a lot of people. And so hopefully that doesn't happen soon.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried that like they'll take over the world one day, but yeah. So moving on, have you guys ever experimented with ChatGPT yourself?
I use it a lot for like not to copy off of, but I use it a lot to explain like complex things. Like if I have like a chemistry problem or something that I don't understand, I ask it to like explain it to me. Or if I have like really weird wording in a sentence or two for English, I'll ask like how to reword it and I can learn a lot like that. But obviously if you do it too much, you can rely on it in a bad way. So I need to be careful.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I've also used it kind of as a resource when on Google, like my search isn't bringing like the resources that I want. So I kind of use ChatGPT to like hone in on certain areas. But yeah, I don't use it for cheating.
Yeah, most of my friends use it, but I've never tried it. I don't know why, but even my teachers use it. And so a lot of people around me use it, and I'm very tempted to. Anyways, what does ChatGPT seem to do well, and what does it seem to do poorly, and why do you think that is? Well, it's really good at like coming up with answers very fastly because it's a computer, but like what it does badly is because it's like not understand something, and like give the wrong answer.
Yeah, I feel like since it's so like computer generated, it could have some faults in being like um really like obviously computer generated. I don't know. But then I feel like it's also helpful because it just gives you a lot of information that you might not have access to. And it's also really quick at doing so, like you said. But yeah, I feel like there are obvious faults at it. And if there's a mistake in the computer, then it kind of just sets everything astray.
Yeah, it gives a lot of wrong things a lot of the times for like things that are like kind of recent events. It's very clueless, so you can't, it's not very developed enough yet to rely on it completely.
Yeah, I definitely think some like spheres are more developed than others. So, kind of related to that question, what are some ways that ChatGPT can be used in our everyday lives?
If you're like a book writer and you run out of ideas, you could like search them up. And I'm video production, and we have to think of pitches, and they're really hard to think of sometimes. And so I seen this guy and use ChatGPT for ideas.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that too, like for people who want to write stories. And I think it's really interesting because you get a new idea each time, so they're all really unique. Yeah.
Did you guys know that across the country, educators are starting to overhaul classrooms in response to GPT and prompting a potentially huge shift in teaching and learning? Have you guys seen this in your school or district or in any of your classes, and how have your teachers addressed it? My language arts teacher, she's very like against it, especially because like students use it to write their essays. But like she uses it as well, so I don't know. But like she had to think activity for her classroom. So what she did was like she took a Taylor Swift song, like she made an AP Lang song out of it, and she made us sing it. How about you, Kaylin?
For me, like my history teacher last year, he was very adamant about us not using it and saying how he could catch us. Um, I did believe that to a certain extent because it's really obvious when it's so like computer generated and artificial. But at a certain point, I feel like you can't really tell sometimes just because each response is so unique. So you can't trace it down like you can with like plagiarism on the internet.
It just depends like to what extent they don't want us to use it, because obviously like copying and pasting from it is like shouldn't be a thing, but taking ideas from it, I don't know if they don't want us to do that. I don't know why that would be like wrong, because it's like a good resource to take ideas and like form your own things. But I think that this leads to the problem, like ChatGPT will soon lead to the problem of teachers needing to make assignments more complex for students, because a lot of like the teachers that get mad that you use it is because they know their assignments can be done with it. And so like really easily. And so I think that they're gonna need to start upping it, but that's probably why they're mad about it. So
Yeah, for sure. So do you guys think AIs like ChatGPT are an overall positive or negative in education? For me, that's really hard to say because I feel like there are benefits and like disadvantages. But for me, I feel like as of now, I feel like they'd have to be an overall negative because it's just not developed that well, and then people use it for cheating and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be really like helpful if people used it for the right thing, but like people take advantage of it, so I think it's more harmful.
yeah, I agree. Most people don't use it for the right reasons. If you use it responsibly, it's definitely like a plus, but not a lot of people do. So I agree.
And do you guys think it's the game changer that many people seem to believe that it is? For me, I'm not too sure about that. I feel like it does offer a lot of information. It does have its own benefits, but I'm not sure if it's a game changer in education yet.
How do you guys think students can utilize ChatGPT for their learning in and outside of school?
Mostly for ideas, but it's not quite developed again enough to use it for anything else other than ideas or like explaining things. So I don't know, but that's kind of it.
Yeah. Why do you guys think that so many educators are worried about this new technology? And do you agree with any of those concerns?
Because it's like so advanced that it's like so easy to be tricked by it. And then like realistic and natural too. And so I would fall for it definitely.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to distinguish sometimes, especially if they're just like using pieces of it here and there. Sabrina, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that it could be a game changer, but at the same time, like in a bad way almost, because like a lot of assignment, like I said, a lot of assignments can be done with ChatGPT, which is why it can be very negative and like you really can't detect if someone uses ChatGPT for an easy assignment because you can just say, "Hey, ChatGPT, like explain this in easy terms." Whatever. You can be super specific with things, and so like you could just literally copy it and change like a couple words, and no one would know.
Oh, and by the way, one of our co-hosts, Yuna, lost connection, so that's why she won't be in the podcast for a little bit. But anyways, now we'll move on to the next question. Okay, so the next question is how do you think teachers can respond to ChatGPT to ensure students are not cheating?
It's kind of hard to completely rule it out. It's like kind of impossible. So, I mean, what they could do is kind of change their assignments to make it more personalized to their class. And so like no, it'll be hard to use ChatGPT, but that's like the hard part. So it just yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, especially as ChatGPT and like AI in general develops, I think it'll be harder to kind of counteract that. And yeah, I mean, I hear from my teachers that they know when you use ChatGPT, but honestly, sometimes I doubt that. So, do you think AI has the capability of improving itself to withstand like the effects that we were talking about?
Like what do you mean by withstand the effects?
Oh, like for example, like if your teacher says they know that you used AI, like do you think AI like as it develops, it'll be harder and harder to detect that?
Yeah, for sure. Because AI is already developed so much, and so like it's only been like a year of it existing, and so I think in like 5 years it's gonna be really, really developed to the point where you just basically can't detect it. And also like I really don't believe AI detectors. Like obviously if you like copy and paste it, you can definitely detect anyone with human eyes can detect that. But like if you like incorporate your own whatever into it and like it's like not even now it's not detectable. So like in like 3 to 5 years, it like I don't think it will be at all.
Yeah, I think so too. And kind of related to that, do you think ChatGPT, like in particular, is something that can be preventable by AI detectors?
Mm, Like do you think are you asking if ChatGPT can stop itself from being detected? That makes
Mm, yeah, yeah.
um maybe not definitely not yet, but like I don't know in the future because if AI develops, so will AI detectors with it. Because technically AI detectors are like is AI too. So it both of it will definitely get better. So I think that it could be a possibility, but I don't know how well AI detectors will develop. So
Yeah, especially like with all the defects in AI, I feel like it'll probably take some time, but it's hard to say for now. What do you think? Do you think ChatGPT is preventable by AI detectors?
I think like it can detect most of it, but not all. Because like I know that my teacher uses something like that, and like she caught people in ChatGPT that way.
Yeah, I've heard of that at my school too, but I'm sure there are people who also got away with it, so that's kind of interesting to think about.
As ChatGPT is helpful in so many ways, will it slowly start being encouraged in school, do you think?
I feel like if it improves itself to the point to kind of filter out, I don't know how, but like filter out like the cheaters or something and only be used like in a helpful way, then I feel like it could be. And especially because I know, you said that your teachers even use it. So I feel like it'll just become like an integral part of our school life. So I feel like in the future, at least like 10 years from now, it might be encouraged in school.
If anything, I think it could definitely replace a lot of jobs in 10 years. Like it can be like a tutor or it can be a counselor, it can be a lot of things, I think. So I think that in school, it definitely they have no choice but to encourage it once it develops a lot more.
Okay, so Yuna got kicked out of the meeting again because of internet issues, but we'll keep going. So the last question that we have today is, do you see AI being a big part of the future? I feel like we kind of touched on this throughout our discussion, but I definitely think it is going to become a really key part of future generations just because, like you said, Sabrina, it'll definitely take over people's jobs. And I think I've heard of like similar stories and also just how computers take over jobs. Like I know in some train stations or like subway stations in Korea, like people used to buy the tickets from a person. And so that was definitely a lot slower, but now these people don't have any jobs and like computers just took over. And it's definitely convenient, but I get worried sometimes about the degree to which this might happen and how it might take over people's jobs. And this is kind of like a weird fear, but like I just get scared, like how movies depict like these aliens, and I feel like they'll take over one day.
I think it's definitely inevitable that like AIs are gonna take over all of us one day, but like hopefully I'll be dead by then. But anyways, like yeah, I think that it's gonna be very helpful in the future. Um, like I think that it'll challenge humans in a way because like I think right now for sure humans have smarter brains than them 100%, but since like AI is gonna become so developed, um everyone's going to start using it and so they have to think like one notch higher and so I think it can definitely like challenge a lot of people to just work harder and do better because humans are so adaptive to every situation really and like I don't think that the world's going to end so easily so I think it can definitely bring really good positive changes but yeah definitely negatives too but I mean yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely, like you said, it is pretty much inevitable, but yeah, there's a lot of computer error, and like humans need to work hard to make up for that and make sure that we're using it in positive ways. So, yeah, hopefully that's how it turns out. But thank you for listening to our podcast today, and that's all we have.